If you look at decision makers around the world, the economic decision makers in governments, the economic decision makers in investing industries, the economic decision makers in the financial sector, you're seeing quite extraordinary change over the last 5 or 10 years. I've been working in China for 30 years. I've been working in India for 45 years, and I spend a lot of time each year in both countries. Those are the two most important countries in the world, relative to the very obvious natural criterion of the number of people who live there. They're the two most important countries in the world in terms of the economic growth during this century. So let's start with the two most important countries in the world. China changed radically, really, over the last 6 or 7 years, for very good reasons. For China, water has been at the heart of politics and economic development for millennia. Climate change is a water story. China's rivers, you know, the Yellow and the Yangtze, and which, wherever you look, rise mostly in the Himalayas, and that would be radically affected. So too, if you just run around from the Yellow to the Yangtze to the Mekong to the Ganges, all the way round to the Indus, what you see is rivers that rise in the Himalayas. So India and China have been very concerned about climate change and water, very understandably so. In China, the whole air pollution story has played a big part in their changing view. Very senior Chinese policymakers will say to me, what's the point of all this development if our cities are unlivable? So first climate change, then pollution, and then of course the story of technology. These new technologies are actually technologies where, particularly China, but increasingly India, are really getting rather good. So they can compete on that side. And then there's the falling cost, so they can offer lower costs to their people. So the arguments have been really gathering pace very strongly. And China, after being very dependent on coal, China peaked coal 3 or 4 years ago in its use in the economy as a whole. India has made it pretty clear that it won't be commissioning any more coal-fired power stations, and it may not be finishing the ones that are already under commission. The two most important countries in the world are changing radically.